weekend special is on. I'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more.
As they count down to the inauguration of President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu as Nigeria's 16th president continues, more and more world leaders are showing solidarity with him in recognition of his well-deserved win. The United States, United Kingdom, China, Ukraine, France, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Cuba, Nicaragua, Namibia, and a host of others have already sent in their congratulatory messages. The ECOWAS Parliament and other ECOWAS bodies, the D8, that is, the Developing Aid Organizations for Economic Cooperation, the African Union, are among organizations that have recognized Bola Tinubu's impressive win.
We're sorry for that glitch there. Hello and thank you for joining us on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, Zamfara State APC set up 11-man committee to investigate anti-party activities as party leadership void expulsion of former Gombe Governor Danjuma Goje. And later on the show, our weekend special is on the Beauty Federal University delivered by Ebonyi State Governor Dave Umahi. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Mayor Akekbelu. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. Let's begin with troubling development in the health sector of Nigeria. Members of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors have insisted on starting a warning strike on Wednesday, despite talks between the federal government and their parent body in Nigeria Medical Association. That's the Nigeria Medical Association, NMA. This is in the midst of other challenges bedeviling the sector like medical tourism. According to reports, Nigeria spent about $3 billion on foreign healthcare-related services between 2020 and 2022. Jide, we can't afford this strike again. We can't just afford this strike, despite the migration happening in that industry and the state of things. Whatever is meant to be done, and we have a government that is winding down. Who will negotiate with these people? By this time next Sunday, it will be 24 hours more for Muhammadu Buhari to just leave that seat.
Yes, the government is still very much in power and in office, and the Minister of Labour is still very much the Minister of Labour. He was talking about the strike and describing it as illegal and all that. What Nigerians want is not all this sabbarattling. Go down to brass tacks. Get down to brass tacks.
Yes, we've been told before.
Solve the problem.
Previous like are illegal.
Solve the problem. Save us the agony of a full-blown resident doctor strike. Already, people are lamenting the fact that even this warning strike has crippled the health sector largely. So what needs to be done is sit down with these people. I don't know why it is difficult to sit down with workers when they are protesting. All over the world, workers ask for better welfare. It's not simply a Nigerian thing. Even in the advanced nations, workers still ask for a better deal. So why not sit with them, address some of the issues that they've been complaining about, like non-payment of outstanding areas of the new hazard allowance, non-payment of consequential adjustments of the new hazard allowance, salary areas of non-payment of consequential adjustment of the new salary areas of tertiary health institutions by states like Imo, Ondo, Ekiti, Gombe, non-domestication of the Medical Residency Training Act in most states of the Federation, and delay in the upward review of consolidated medical salary structure, CONMES. So what these guys are asking for is well known.
So it boils down
To their welfare, which is within their rights. Everywhere, workers ask for better welfare. So government has to sit down with them, address the problem frontally, and save us from a strike. Nigerians are not interested in excuses or attempts at demonizing workers. Just go ahead, do your best to solve the problem. Yes, the government will leave in just 8 days, but the government is still very much in office. After all, they are still appointing people to key positions.
strategic positions on a daily basis.
We just
When the accountant general.
new accountant general, you know, contracts are still being awarded and all that. So it's not because Buhari is about to leave office that
Everything has been.
everything is in abeyance. No, they're still very much in office. So let them solve that problem. We don't need this strike.
Mayor, when you look at this sector, it's a very sensitive sector. It's not a sector that, you know, anytime they go on strike, if you want to count the costs, you can't even count it in money. The number of lives.
Yeah, I agree that it's a very important sector. And I agree that just like we treat the educational sector, we don't give the kind of attention, or government do not give the kind of attention that they should give to the health sector. That is why they are not well paid. Sometimes you agree allowances with them, you don't pay it on time. Sometimes it's not paid at all. There is not adequate funding for that sector. And that's why we have this medical tourism. Most, even our leaders, everybody travel abroad to solve medical problems. And I think the government should have a change of mind. But at the same time, I also think that the resident doctors are not being fair. Why I said they are not being fair is because a week to the end of an administration, it doesn't make sense for you to start a strike and start negotiation. I would prefer a situation where they will wait for the new government to discuss with the new government, and then the new government will be in a better position.
And add more to the problem.
No. No, it is part of the problem that the new government have to inherit. Because my problem now is that because it is 1 week, I don't see what this government can achieve in 1 week. These things should have been discussed, should have been agreed on weeks or months before. A week to the end of an administration, when you now start telling them that certain things have to be done, they may not be in a position to really do much. That's my problem. So, but to me, why the government has reneged on things that they or neglected their duty in terms of the health sector, what they should have done in that sector. Also, the doctors themselves should have been fair to the incoming government, because if they continue this, it's going to go into the new government that has that's not part of the agreement that they had with the government.
Now, Julie,
The problem really is that in January, these same demands were made.
the government did not
Nothing was
listen to
done.
them.
Nothing was
Because
done. These are not new
We
demands.
said it last week that ASU's demand still pending.
These are not
Every other demand still pending. They suspended the strike.
These demands are more than 2 years old. These are not new demands. So why you would not address the demands and prefer to let another government inherit it is what I don't understand. Because in January, they threatened to go on strike. Of course, it didn't happen. That was back in January. So what was done between January and now? Because I was going through my old notes, and the date was January. So these demands are there. There are states that are setting up state universities with teaching hospitals, and they are owing doctors' salary for months. And the rest of them are saying, look, this is not the kind of sector where you can afford to owe doctors up to 5 months' salary. This is nonsense.
It's irresponsible. Yeah, I agree.
This is nonsense.
Yes, it's irresponsible. Yes.
If you cannot fund your state universities properly, why set them up? Why should the setting up of universities be something that we will see as a democracy dividend? At the end of the day, you can't fund them properly. And you are owing doctors. They mentioned states, including Abia, where their colleagues are being owed months. A person who is being owed several months' salary, you are putting another person's life in his hands.
Honestly.
Are you? Do you know
Can
what?
never be motivated.
So these are are not new issues.
But I think part of the problem also has to do, with all respect to him, to the Minister of Labor and Employment. He has this style of not wanting to solve a problem. He likes to kick the can down the line. Because if you look, whether it is Masu, whether it is residents, whether it's any other sector, when you have negotiation with them, he just tries to delay and kick the can down the line. Because if this has been on the table for 2 years, any responsible government would have come up with a framework of how to solve that problem. Allowing the incoming government to inherit all these problems is irresponsible.
And in my view, as it went down, we need to not just take care of the welfare of we can't stop doctors from living. Even in Egypt,
At all.
they are living. But in the third world nations, doctors are living. But we should reduce the rate at which people are going abroad for Medicare. And that will happen if we equip our health facilities.
What we have here.
But we even find it difficult to pay salaries of health workers. Where are we going to find money to equip those hospitals substantially? The wife of the president was saying that there's no need for people to travel again after they have spent 21 billion on the State House.
But how many people can access it?
How many people can access it? It's only the VIPs working with the president that can use it. Because she also said that she advised that they should demarcate it because there are hundreds of people who are using the State House Hospital. So they now have a VIP wing, which they have spent so much money on. So we just have to do our best, make the sector better, instead of leaving it in shambles.
All right. As Africa's largest economy, it is appalling to hear that Nigeria may go bankrupt if something drastic is not done to raise revenue. A multinational consulting firm, KPMG, has raised concern over Nigeria's debt burden, saying the country may use 100% of its 2023 revenue to service loans. According to the firm, with revenue to GDP ratio of 4.49% as of December 2022, Nigeria's debt service to revenue ratio may surpass 100% in 2023, which limits the fiscal space of government's ability to pay for its operations and functions. Jide, the long and short of this grammar here is a country moving towards bankruptcy.
Yes, because we refuse to take the right decisions. The Senate President and his colleague in the House of Reps, every time the President asks for a loan, they oblige him. Every time they oblige him. We have a situation in which from 19.3 trillion debt in 2015, according to the World Bank, we are now around 78 trillion. So debt service to revenue was 83.2% in 2021. In 2022, it climbed to 96.3%, which means 96.3% of our receipt of the money that we made went to servicing debts. And nobody needs to tell you that if it was 96.3% in 2022, in 2023, it will further go up. Maybe it will get to 100% or more. Because there was a particular quarter where we actually spent 118% of our revenue on debt servicing. Whereas during that same period, South Africa, that has a higher debt stock than Nigeria, spent only 20% of its own receipts, of its own earnings on debt servicing. A country spending as much as this from its revenue,
All our profits.
almost everything that it earned. You know, there's no way
Like
you
pouring
can look
water
at that
into the
system
basket.
and not be worried. Where are you? What will only happen is that you will be asking for more loans. You will be asking for more loans. You know, I once talked about a letter that the Vice President wrote to the National Assembly asking for loan of 1.2
$1 million.
a billion dollars, $1.2 billion. I felt this loan was more. But the other day, the president wrote to the National Assembly again asking for $800 million, which was even less than the one that I was complaining about. I think that one was almost 3 years ago. So where are we going? The government is about to leave office, just a matter of days, but is still asking for loan to continue the policy of conditional cash transfer for the next 6 months. In those 6 months, you won't be in office. Yes, they always say government is a continuum, and I'm not against the idea of conditional cash transfer, because even the World Bank recommends it to cushion the effect of inflation and all that, so that the most vulnerable can at least have something in their hands. But at the rate at which we are going, that kind of money should be from our earnings, not
from debts.
to go and incur debt.
To borrow and to pay the poor.
At the rate we are going to take loans to service debt, because it's looking inevitable now, especially when we have not removed subsidy. Because if you remove subsidy, you'll be able to free up some funds. Subsidy payment is part of why we do not have enough revenue, because part of what the bulk of what NNPC even makes, they are using it to pay for subsidy. So if subsidy goes, it means you can free some funds, and perhaps some of these loans that we are taking, like blind sailor, perhaps it will stop or go down drastically. A time will come when even those creditors will say, no, we are not giving you money, because they will see clearly that the loans that we are taking, our revenue profile cannot sustain those loans.
If KPMG is concerned about our debt burden, and they've given these indices, and yet we still not looked for ways of reversing this trend, because it's not clear that a new government will get there, will still continue to borrow.
No, it's going to get worse, because you see, we are not serious people. We like to deceive ourselves all the time. Our case is like that of a bank manager that was working in the bank, and they gave him car allowance, gave him generator, gave him a house, an official accommodation, and he was enjoying himself and having a good time, send his kids to private school, and he was a big man in the society, a bank manager of a very good bank. That bank now ran into problems, and this man was sacked. And instead of him to face the reality that he was no longer a bank manager, who the bank pays all his bills, now he has to struggle to survive. But this same man still wants to continue his lifestyle. He still wants to send his children to the best school.
Ride the same
he still wants
cars.
to go to holiday. He wants to, so he now started borrowing from the bank. He just knows that he's deceiving himself, because ultimately he will go bankrupt. It will show, because he will not be able to pay back. There will be time that Nigeria will not be able to pay back and will run bankrupt.
And our investors, our creditors will not even give us.
The problem is that we don't tell ourselves the basic truth. Nigeria is not as rich as we used to be.
Yeah.
We are not, even the oil that's the major earner, we are not selling the kind of, because of security situations and because of oil theft and all that, we are not selling the kind of barrels that we're supposed to sell. So our income has reduced drastically. Apart from that, we are deceiving ourselves that, oh, because of political situation, and all of us are guilty of it. When government says they want to increase, they want to remove subsidy, people, Nigerian Labour Congress will come and say they cannot remove subsidy. If they remove subsidy, they are going to go on strike. They are going to do that. You are just deceiving yourself because you cannot afford what you are spending. You are talking of all those ones. The Nigerian government, because they say it's 96%, it's actually more than 96% because the remaining money they are spending is through ways and means, which they do by printing money from central bank. You are going to go bankrupt. We have to face reality. Nigeria is not as rich as it used to be. We cannot afford subsidy. All of us driving our cars must be ready to pay normal fare for our petroleum products. If we don't do that, if we continue to spend those trillions on subsidy, eventually, it's not rocket science, this country will go bankrupt.
Jude, and when you want to look at this trend now, this new government will have to take that decision in a matter of days. We cannot dilly-dally again in months to say,
People have actually suggested that it can be a phased removal.
Okay.
A phased removal because the aftershock of sudden total removal may not go well for the system. So why not do a phased removal? The people will be able to absorb that shock, incremental absorption of the shocks of removal until things normalize.
Can you break it down?
Now, okay. Subsidy has been there since the Obasanjo era as a military ruler, but they've been reducing the level of subsidy. They've been reducing it. It has never been 100%. You get the point?
It is 100% now.
No.
Okay.
Even now, it is not 100%.
What is not 100%?
The subsidy. What I'm saying is, at a point during Obasanjo's regime, don't know when it started, you know, this whole
gradually.
Yes, this whole thing stemmed from the need to cushion the effect of rising oil prices during the Israel-Arab war. And that was why subsidy, not just for petrol, but even for essential commodities, government introduced subsidy at that time. So the rate of subsidy had been reduced. There are some services that in the past government decided to bear so that the price will not be this high. The price, if you look at how much we are buying petrol in the 70s, in the 80s, it is not what it is now. So there had been phased reduction of the percentage of subsidy. If you ask anybody in the sector, in the oil sector, they will tell you that that back then during Obasanjo's era, military era, that the rate at which government bore the burden of subsidy was higher than now.
No, it's higher now.
Is higher. No.
Why is higher? Why is higher now? It's because within that time and now, your naira has been devalued.
No, not just that.
So the money that you committed, because the money government is spending now is more.
See, let me tell you, the real reason it is this high is not just because of the value of the currency. It is because we claim that we are actually consuming at a level that a lot of us find difficult to believe.
Of course, because it is false, because
so
it's a scam.
When you look at, it's not as if there was no subsidy during Jonathan's time. Look at the subsidy
We can't
bill.
give accounts.
Look at the subsidy bill at that time and now. There is a world of difference. Subsidy bill at that time, throughout the Jonathan era, was not up to 500 billion.
Yes,
Now we keep talking about trillion.
Now
in
we are
months.
talking about, we are now talking about 6 trillion. In the 2023 budget now, they are projecting to spend 6 trillion. Whereas at a point it was just
Because it's a big scam. You see those people,
at that time they never told us that that our consumption level was up to 30 it was between 27 to 30
It has always been like
million.
that. You remember that
Now
Saraki,
they are telling us is, in fact, the day the Senate President complained, they were talking about 99 million liters per day. And everybody say it's not possible. That are you saying, look at the argument of the Customs Controller General, that if you are saying the bulk of it is as a result of smuggling, it is not, where are the trucks? You need hundreds of trucks going across the border every day.
Thousands.
Where are they? Maybe they will pass through the land borders. Where are they? Who are seeing hundreds of trucks passing? Because the man, they calculated it.
Added with fraud.
no, it's because
Yes.
there's a mafia in NFPC that's always been there. Importation of fuel has always been easy money for a lot of people. You remember that when Saraki investigated this and they came up with people and people were jailed, they realized that some people are even collecting money for subsidy when they didn't even bring in any petroleum products.
Yes.
You understand?
People are not
And
bringing
because that scam is
Like with
there,
the panel.
the only way you can neutralize them is to allow market forces to determine it. Yeah, and why I don't agree with partial removal is because, you see, when there is a problem, when there's a problem, immediately you do that partial removal, the pain is still there. By the time you come back another time, it becomes more difficult. People want to resist it more. The best thing is for you to, especially a new government that is coming, that has 4 years to serve the people, it is important to implement that plane. Immediately you come in. If Buhari has done that in 2015, we'll have solved that problem since. When he had capital to be able to use that, when you come in, remove it, the pains will be there, people will feel it, and then eventually they will get used to it. But by the time you remove it gradually, when you do it now, people will complain. By the time you want to do it another time, they will resist it more.
Is coming. You know, this is an emotional issue. A new government is coming in, and you want to remove subsidy that week.
No, not that week, but very early in the government.
Look at what Obasanjo
by the time the government settles down,
Obasanjo did. As Yaradua was about to take power, Obasanjo increased fuel price. That was when
yes, it did.
Moved it to, I think, 65 or
yes,
something.
65.
He increased fuel price. He didn't want the government, the new government, to walk into a climate of hatred. He
Correct.
did it on their behalf.
On their behalf, yes.
This is the government.
They should have done it.
Have done it.
But they chicken out. They said they would do it, but they chicken out.
No, according to Nasir El-Rufai, everybody in the meeting said, let's remove it. It was the president that said no, that I will not remove. Yeah, Nasir said it during our...
Yes, I know. That's what I'm saying.
You know,
he should have done it because,
said, no.
because people will
complain. All of
complain.
them were there, said, let's remove this thing.
And they will
it
get
will
used
kill
to it.
Nigeria. Because where are you going to find front? And people are stealing. Stealing mindlessly with it. Somebody argued that there's no way you can tell me that the prosperity of this period is greater than the Jonathan era. Because during the Jonathan era, people could afford a lot of things that they can't afford now.
Absolutely.
So are you telling me that people are buying more vehicles now than that period? Do the facts at the licensing office, do they
People
support
don't even
increase?
No, they don't not even buy bicycles because the price of vehicles have gone
higher
up
now.
now.
Yes.
Because
It's
of
unreachable.
yes,
You
because
can't
of
buy
the
car.
custom
It's a
duty.
Kubo card. You can't buy it.
Because of the custom duty, you can't buy cars
How do you
anymore.
then explain a much higher level of petrol consumption?
Because it's a scam.
So
They
and
know.
you can't pin
Everybody
everything
knows
on
it's a scam.
smuggling. You can't pin everything
It's
on
not
smuggling.
smuggling. It's a scam. If you remove it today, I can tell you that if you remove it today, you will realize that the consumption level will reduce by half.
So
All right.
substantially.
All right. There's fire on the mountain in Plateau State, and people are really running and angry. A member of the House of Representatives, Solomon Maron, said more than 100 persons have been killed by terrorists in Plateau State within the last 2 days. Maron, who represent Mangu Bakos Federal Constituency in the North Central State, said the attackers also burnt houses, farms, and stored agricultural inputs, adding that the latest attacks took the death toll to 200 in the last 4 months. Let's share the updates on the killings with you.
Tension, fear, and painful memories are what locals in the Mangu Council area and environs are passing through at the moment. It is now day 5 since the area was invaded, and attacks by the perpetrators have continued unabated despite attempts to curtail it. So far, about 30 communities have been attacked since the Tuesday's midnight invasion, with more than 150 lives lost and about 2,000 houses and several items burned or destroyed, while others were ransacked by the invaders. Several temporary internally displaced camps have been put in place by the Mogaville Development Association to help and support the displaced victims who register on a daily basis. This is the total number of displaced victims brought to the MDA temporary IDP. We are at this temporary internally displaced camp here in Mangu town, where the caregivers say the population is too many for them to handle at the moment. 4 of the displaced victims seeking refuge died as a result of trauma and shock due to what they experienced during the invasion.
We're sure of 4 persons that died because of the shock of that incident that happened in their various communities.
She's my grandmother. I'm her grandchild. She was moved from Mirana village down here because of tension over there. She came here too. There's tension here. She was hearing gunshots everywhere. So because of the shock, she passed on.
The presence of the federal, state and local government is yet to be felt following this 5-day of attack in communities across Mangu Council area. The victims are calling for well-to-do Nigerians to come to their aid by way of providing relief items to them. Funom Joshua, TVC News, Mangu.
Are we at war? Because I don't understand, within the territory of our country, there's a place in Plateau State that's 100 people. In the last 4 days, talking about 200 people.
In 48 hours, they killed, I think, about 120. And they are saying that the attacks in the area in the last 4 months is more than 200. On February 9, they killed people in separate attacks in that same area. Then on the 27th of April, they also killed 6 people. You know, these are, according to the residents, it is criminal headsmen who are behind these killings. And sometimes they use mercenaries to attack a community, just kill people and go. Human life is too cheap in our country. We can't continue like this. You can't kill 10 Americans anywhere, and it will even be a global problem. Everybody, you saw when it happened in France, some hypocritical Nigerians were even, they were using the flag of France as their DP. But in their country, every day, far more people get killed, and it doesn't shock people anymore.
No, it's not.
You will see, if you see today's papers now,
it's nowhere in the...
it's not, they are not even bothered. It's politics that people are talking about, 3-horse race and all that. You know, they're talking about National Assembly positions.
Can you imagine?
So,
that's something like this is happening within our territory.
How did we get to the point where more than 100 people will be killed in a matter of 48 hours, and it has not stirred national outrage? I never knew that Nigeria could get this bad. That people, and you know, as they are killing them in Plateau, they are killing people in Benue. They are killing people in Benue. As they are killing them in Benue, they are killing them in Nasarawa. As they are killing them in Nasarawa, they are killing people in Taraba. All of these places that I've mentioned, in the last 2 months, there have been attacks on people, to the point that the death toll must be in excess of 600 in those places. And the fact that we just seem powerless is what bothers me. How can we be powerless about this kind of situation? We have security people. Remember the way the Sultan spoke. Before the Sultan could criticize the armed forces that they are not doing enough, that sometimes it seems like they are even mocking the dead, that they show up long after the killers have left. That is what usually happens. For a retired
Colonel.
Yes, to say that, you know, there's a spirit they call in the armed forces. For him to come out, because I've never seen where he criticized the military like that.
Hardly.
For someone like that to come out and speak in that manner,
Paint.
it shows that he's just disillusioned, he's angry. We can't continue like this. We've got to revamp our security. The incoming administration must find the right strategy. I'm telling you, Ayo, one of the ways by which Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be judged is how he handles security in our country.
Yes.
Yeah.
If he gets a good
Security and economy.
if he gets a good hang on this, because even this is not, as long as they are killing people like this, there's no way the economy will not suffer.
Yeah.
Agriculture contributes far more to our GDP than telecoms and the rest.
Yeah.
So the bulk of what the people do is agriculture, and many of them cannot access their farms. Even the Sultan was saying it that some deliberately will leave agricultural inputs at home, so that when these guys come, you just give them what you've harvested, so that they don't kill people. How do you work for a whole year, and then what you've harvested, you just willfully give bandits to take away?
And this thing will happen. You will have bandits maybe in their hundreds on Okada, and they will travel several kilometers. They will go across, from where, maybe outside the country. No radar will detect them. Nothing will detect their movements, and they will operate for several hours unchallenged
I think the problem is
and escape.
I think the problem is that we've taken our eyes off the ball. If you remember, this S-men was a major problem at a time. The government was able to break it down considerably. It seems we have moved our eyes off the ball. And while we concentrated on other things, election, transition, and other things, that problem has resurfaced, and nobody is taking notice of it. Because what is happening now used to happen regularly within that axis, Nasarawa, Plateau, Benue. You remember the farmers, herdsmen, and all that?
Yes, yes.
And then government was able to handle it in a way that it reduced that kind of tension within those areas. But we have moved our eyes off the ball, and nobody is bothering about that. So the problem has resurfaced. And I agree with Jide that the major problem that we have right now is insecurity. And because of the insecurity, a lot of things have been affected, especially in the agricultural sector and in another sector. Look at our railway that we use a lot of money to set up loans from China. They are not even generating enough money to pay back the loan, because there have been security challenges within the different corridors of those railway routes, and it's affecting everybody. So the incoming government has its work cut out. I believe that this government has not done well when it comes to security situation, despite the fact that we have the general as the president. Because I believe that our armed forces are very competent, and this government has also done a lot to harm them. So there is no excuse for them not to be able to do what is expected of them. But it seems that when they solve a problem, or when they seem to have upper hand, they slow down and allow those people to gain back. Whether it is bandits, whether it is S-men, whether it's terrorists, at every point in time, at one time, they will seem to be on top, and then we won't hear much about those people. Then eventually, they will come back again, and until there's an outrage, then they will try to go again and try to solve the problem. Because for us to allow people to die regularly like that within that axis, and nobody cares, should not be like that, because the primary duty of government is protection of lives and property. So if government doesn't do that, I believe the government has failed. It's the people.
what will make our security formation or our security people, because I don't know particularly how they gather intelligence, how they monitor intelligence, or how they mount their surveillance, what will make these terrorists to attack these villages for hours? And they move in droves. Some of them even abduct people. They kidnap people back to their hideouts. Unchallenged. Hours.
Well, in 12 years, we have lost 99,083 people. Not to warfare. 99,083 people killed in 12 years. In between 2019 and May 2023, we lost 35,800 people. A country that is not at war. It means that something is really wrong. These guys continue to exploit our weaknesses. Those communities, they have bad roads leading to them. So sometimes even when they alert the armed forces, before they get there, these guys have finished what they are doing. And they like operating at midnight, knowing that at midnight it will be difficult for people to get help.
Right.
And they always target women and children. That's what they do. This is the way cowards behave. You will never hear that they attacked an urban center. It is those remote communities that they always go to, just go and kill people. And that was why that emir, remember that emir from Taraba, who said, you have bad eggs amongst you, we gave you land, because you are raping our women, you are abducting our people. If you don't identify all those bad eggs, we are going to kill all of you. They surrendered bad eggs, took them to the police headquarters. That was an emir that stood up and said, enough is enough. So we've got to tell these people, enough is enough. We can't continue to be losing our people in this manner. And security has to be beefed up. People remember last week when we were discussing Kebbi, we were discussing death.
Yes, Kebbi.
The man said, our soldiers from Kebbi State, they are among the highest in Nigeria. In fact, the Zulu people are known to be warriors. There is no ethnic group that I know in the armed forces from northern Nigeria like like those ones from Kebbi, from Zulu. Remember the Bameyi brothers? That's why they came from. He said, why don't you just draft our own people? Because we don't have enough security in those communities. Draft our people to come and protect our people. There will be enough to protect our people because they are tired. How many did he say these people have killed in the last few years? I was talking about 5,000 plus.
Yes, it has to do with the security architecture. It's not possible. I concede that it's not possible for the military to be everywhere or police to be everywhere. But if you have an architecture, you must be able to have vigilante groups in different communities that will be under a central police unit that will supervise those vigilante groups that will be able to develop, to be able to defend these communities. The major problem with these communities is that they are vulnerable, help doesn't come on time, and then the nearest police post or unit to them is far that they won't be able to protect them. So the only way we can solve that problem is to have vigilante groups, made of men within those communities, to serve as the first set of defense.
We don't harm the vigilantes sufficiently.
We have to harm them.
Killing them the way they
No, we have to harm them. We have to harm them.
Kill more than 40 of them.
So this centralized form of policing
cannot solve the problem.
It's clearly
It
not.
cannot work.
Nigeria has developed beyond that.
Yes, it cannot work. Because when we look at our problems, it cannot work. In fact, that is part of the reasons why they don't have intelligence reports. And I'll give you an example. There was a time there was one major problem from my hometown. I'm from Ikorodu. There was a time there was a major problem there. The so-called Bado boys. You understand? And it became an issue. And the police could not solve the problem. But the commissioner at that time, Edgar, was able to meet with OPC.
Yes.
You understand? Had a meeting with them. Because these people, members of OPC, because they live within that community, they were able to solve that problem. Because every crime is local. Every crime is local. there will be people within that community, they know those who are doing those things within any community. So that's why we always call for state police and all that, and they don't want to agree. But if you don't want to do it now, you must be able to have vigilante groups in each of these places, and they must be armed to be able to do those, to be able to defend that community.
All right. The imbroglio between the federal government and the detained leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kano, is getting more global scrutiny. The representative of District 139 in the Texas House of Representatives, Jarvis Johnson, has appealed to the U.S. Congress to urgently intervene and urged the federal government to release Kano. In a letter, the U.S. lawmakers said there's growing fear that the government intend to assassinate or cause Kano's disappearance before May 29, when it takes plans to hand over to the incoming administration. Jide, what is this all about? Nnamdi Kano has been in the detention of DSS for some months now.
Months?
Yes.
So, okay, why raising this alarm? What's happening?
No, you know, in the last few weeks too, his lawyer, his two main lawyers have been saying, look, this fellow is sick, release him for Medicare or let him go to Kuje prison. You know, it was Kuje prison that they wanted, but DSS preferred that he be kept in their custody, and the judge decided that they should send him to the DSS facility. They have been pushing that it should be Kuje because they were sure that the regimented nature of the DSS facility, that's not what you have in Kuje, you know. So he said, that's Ozekome said 2 weeks ago that he feared for Kano's life, that something tells him that Kano will die in the hands of the DSS. Before then, A.G. Mako, or what's his name, the lawyer, also said that Kano was ill, that there was an outbreak of tuberculosis in the DSS facility. I think that the Americans and other people have been hearing these stories. And this Texas lawmaker just felt, look, this person is a British citizen. The manner in which he was brought into Nigeria was against international convention and all that. Is likely to die in the hands of, I think, based on all those stories that he had been hearing. But I don't think anybody in Nigeria who is truly human would allow Kano to die.
It's a big problem.
Because it will cause a big problem for us.
A big problem for this nation.
Sometimes you never can tell what is the truth, what is actually not the truth. But I disagree with this U.S. lawmaker that this government plans to kill him before it hands over. To what
doesn't make sense to
what would they gain from killing him before they hand over? So this is just thoroughly exaggerated. I don't think the DSS or anybody will be so foolish as to let Kano die in their hands.
The incoming administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu can sit down and review the situation of things now. Any government wants stability. Any government wants, they don't want any kind of instability. And if they're able to strike a deal, young man, please drop your agitation. Let's move our resignation. We guarantee peace and drop charges against you.
Before I answer that, let me say that no U.S. lawmaker is in a position to know whether Kano will be assassinated or not. Kano is not living in his house. Kano is within government facility. So nobody can assassinate him there. That is one. Normally, it is agitation. When you are in detention, your lawyer will go to court and try to say, oh, you are ill, you need to go to the hospital abroad, government should grant, court should grant the leave for you to do that. So what they are doing is a normal thing. They are trying to get in touch with their contacts abroad to be able to put pressure on this government to release Kano. It's not as if anybody wants to assassinate him or that he's going to die before May 29. It's crap. It's just the same way any lawyer will reach out to their own contacts abroad to say, help us put pressure on Nigerian government to release Kano. That lawyer is just for optics. That letter from the lawmaker is just optics. I don't think the Congress is in a position to say that Kano should be released. They are not in a position to do that. Having said that, I believe that it is in the interest of government to negotiate with Kano. Putting Kano in detention perpetually will not solve the problem. Instead, it has made the problem to be worse. All these so-called unknown gunmen in the East, rampaging up and down, killing people, especially policemen, were fallout of IPOP. So what I would advise is that the new incoming government do not have, because they are starting on a clean slate, they can meet with Kano and his lawyers to say that you must give us a guarantee that you are going to be law-abiding and you are not going to allow your supporters to do the kind of thing they were doing in the name of secession. If they are able to get that promise from him, I think the government...
Those subversive broadcasts.
The government will do well. The government will do well.
He has to give up his armed struggle.
Yes. They will sit down with him to tell him that you have to give up this armed struggle. And then if they can get that guarantee from him and his lawyers, then I would suggest that they can allow him to go home. You understand? Because no government will allow people to talk about secession within a state. That is unacceptable. No government will accept that. Even in US, even in UK, nobody will accept that. Ordinary Scotland, that is a country within a union, they will not allow them to go on independence. It's not as easy as that. So he must be able to know that whatever they want, they must be able to achieve it within the Nigerian state. And if they can secure that guarantee that they will abandon the armed struggle and they call for war on Biafra radio, of course they should allow him to go.
I think dialogue ultimately is the key to this.
So
if you want to go through the judiciary, go through the whole log, it will take longer time.
We always talked about it, either here or even on my program issues with Jide, because I've seen worse things. I've seen worst issues resolved through dialogue. But some hawks believe, no, he has to stay there, this and that. I mean, at the end of the day, the tension, nobody is gaining anything from the tension and the bloodletting that is happening. Ajuaju made a promise during his campaign that is going to talk to these agitators in the southeast. So I believe that when the time comes, he will do what is right.
All right. We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We'll be right back after this time out. Please don't go away.
Every week, Green Angle, in partnership with Wild Aid, will bring you a documentary series on environmental issues affecting Nigeria's amazing biodiversity, from climate change, air pollution, and wildlife conservation. We will be traveling across Nigeria to give you on-the-ground report of the issues affecting our environment. It airs every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Coming up in the month of May, and the first is International Workers' Day, the third is World Press Freedom Day. On the 5th is the 13th anniversary of President Yar'Adua's demise in 2010. While from 12th to 16th of May are days dedicated as United Nations Global Road Safety Week. The 16th of May is International Day of the Boy Child. World Hypertension Day is on the 17th. And on the 27th is Children's Day. 29th of May is Nigeria's Inauguration Day, the commencement of a new 4-year tenure of another administration. On the 31st is World No Tobacco Day. Brace yourself and tune in to TVC News for special reports and analyses on these days.
Shazamayo as I bring you news from the epicenter, where it happens and when it happens, staying on top of every breaking story, minute by minute, right at the hour when the city gets busy and just before it sleeps. We're live from every angle with objective insight and analysis. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Thank you for staying with us. It's Journalist Hangout on Sunday. The legal fireworks at the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal rage on. The President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Independent National Electoral Commission have opposed an application for live television coverage of the proceedings of the tribunal in a petition. By Vice President Atiku Abubakar, the President-elect Kashim Shettima and Vice President-elect also opposed the application. They said live telecasts of proceedings could ridicule the traditional solemn nature of court proceedings. This is where the fireworks will face this week, Julie. It was started by Atiku Abubakar and the lawyers of the Labour Party. They want everybody to see the proceedings, within the court room for this trial. And some people, they're going to be bringing as many as 150 witnesses and everything. But they feel that because of the nature of that election that's so keenly contested, that Nigerians want to see and watch all the proceedings, moment on moment. What is the importance of this?
They are the ones who know why they want to they tend to be telecast. Is this the first time we're having election in our country? So many odd things are happening. This is the first time somebody who came third is claiming that he won the election. And he couldn't have won that election. This is a fact. Now they are the ones asking for 7 days, asking for more time to gather witnesses and all that. I think that some people believe that there are certain extra-legal steps that they can take that can guarantee them victory. There is an attempt to put pressure on judges.
So that the spotlight to be on them, and
you are not even in court. You are not allowed to record
what they are saying.
Judgment of the court. You don't record. You come out if you want to, after the court session, you interview lawyers and all that.
In some courts outside the country,
allow you
they
to
even come up with sketches, the draw.
Yes.
So that
they don't even want you to see the
face of the judges.
And the judges. Because in our country, judges are not supposed to even be seen. You see that most judges stay away from social gatherings and all. They have to protect them. Did they not kill a retired judge the other day in the East?
Even the magistrates, Choma's uncle.
Yes, at the rate they are going.
Was shot.
Some judges, their lives could be in danger if they allow this thing to be shown live. We are not, if they've done it in Kenya or someplace, that is Kenya. Nigeria is different. Some of the things happening in Nigeria don't happen in those countries too. So I know that at the end of the day, the tribunal will take what to eat is the best decision. But just as the SGF said, even during the Shagari era, when the tension was not like this, nobody showed the tribunal proceedings live. I don't know why they came up with this. You can see some of them are even attending the court session.
It's mandatory.
I see Atiku attending, you see Obi attending. Maybe that is part of the strategy. That, okay, maybe when these judges see us sitting here, the judgment will favor us. The judgment will be based on the facts that you produce. These people need to be told the truth. The fact that you produce before the court is what will determine whether you win or you lose, not your presence. The judges are not interested in looking at your face. And it doesn't matter, you may even attend every court session. If your lawyers do not do a good job, you are not going to win. So for me, I don't see, look at O.J. Simpson's trial. Look at the emotions that it generated. You know, at the end of the day, it may not necessarily serve the cause of justice, but it is for the judges to decide what to do. But for me, I think that just as Olanipekun said, the court will not be able to control some of what will happen as a result of covering the thing live. Somebody was comparing it to Oputa Pane. Oputa Pane that was not legally backed by law. Oputa Pane was not...
and the recommendations were not even...
Yes, because it was not backed by law. And some people were invited, they stayed away.
Yes.
It's not a court of law.
We got an injunction against...
So it's not backed by... So some of the things that we compare, I just don't understand. It makes no sense. This is not an Oputa Pane.
I don't agree with the decision that it should be televised live, and I will tell you why. One, those who are proposing that is not to serve the cause of justice. They want to achieve two things by doing that, in my own opinion. The first one is to put pressure on the judges, because they know that if it's televised live, the Nigerians will see the judges every day. And the supporters of these petitioners will hold those judges accountable if the judgment does not go in their favor. That's one. Two, it's optics for their supporters. It is easier for people who know that they don't have the facts to win the case to go there and try to grandstand for the benefit of their supporters. Say things in court that will incite people. You understand? They can go to court and try to make it look as if injustice is being done to them and that they are being discriminated against, or that the judges are biased. When they do that in open court, it's not only now confined to that open court, it's now everywhere. And each and every of their supporters can see that. It is dangerous. Because it is not a court is a place of law. It's not a reality show where you will now be televising everything that has been done within a particular place.
Including shower hour.
You understand? It's not a reality show. And let us tell them that in the so-called Senate crimes, it is not everything that you show like that. Yes. President Trump was taken to court the other day. Now, he's no longer the president. He's the former president. He was taken to court accused by a lady of sexual assault and rape. The judge did not allow camera in the courtroom.
Yes.
They just allowed people to enter the courtroom, take pictures, and when they started the case, they asked somebody to go out.
That's another way.
That is in the United States of America. That is even a civil suit. It is a civil suit. But because of the person involved, they felt it will not serve the cause of justice to transmit it live. In America, just recently, someone was found guilty for that assault. He was asked to pay the woman. He has appealed now. But what I'm saying is that, he didn't come to the court himself. He sent his position through video. And the judge did not even allow it to be covered live. But people want to do things, you will say, oh, they used to cover things live. When you have a petition that involves the presidency of Federal Republic of Nigeria, it is serious business. We must not allow some people to use that as a venue to create
to even ridicule the country.
Yes.
That's the thing. So, and I'm sure those judges will do what is right. Many people will not recognize a judge when they see them outside.
Yeah.
The moment you see their faces on television, we've seen even these boys on social media. Sometimes they get people's phone lines. They release the number. They'll say, "We're calling this."
Bombard the judge.
Yeah.
So are we sure that if judgment goes against them, they won't release the pictures of those judges and
No,
tell Nigerians.
they don't even need to read it because they'll be seeing them for
No, yes, they will
months.
scream munch and
Yeah,
then
they'll
be
scream
telling
munch and then,
Nigerians
yes.
through social media that they should go
How
for.
can you do
So,
that? No.
ultimately, I believe it will be the discussion of the
Yes, it's up to them.
not decide what they want to do.
That even in so-called Sedan clan, it's not every matter.
It's not
Standard
every
practice
matter
is not
that-
compulsory.
Shown.
All right, the Zamfara State chapter of the All Progressive Congress, APC, is in the eye of another storm. The APC in the state has constituted an 11-man committee to investigate allegations against some of its members who engaged in anti-party activities during the 2023 general elections in the state. Meanwhile, the national leadership of the All Progressive Congress, APC, has voided the expulsion of former governor of Gombe State, Danjuma Goje, from the party, pending a review and decision of the National Working Committee, NWC. The party said Goje is a bona fide member of the party. Let's start from this committee for anti-party activity, because the political dynamics in Zamfara State just took a kind of dramatic turn since that 2019 election. You cannot just say this is where things are going. And after they succeeded in stopping the All Progressive Congress from running across the board, the governorship, National Assembly and everything in that 2019, that ushered in the administration of Matawale, the situation has been dramatic.
Yeah, as I've said on one of the episodes of this program, what happened in Zamfara is clearly a case of APC working against APC. I've heard people say, oh, the governor was not popular, the governor is this. It's APC that worked against APC. In any case, people like Dauda Lawal, who won the election on the platform of PDP, was in the APC up till sometime last year, maybe up till even April. And he was one of the APC members who came together to resist the attempt by Governor Yari to ensure that the bulk of the people who got elected on the platform of the party were people from his own group. You know, the argument at that time was, we did consensus. But Dauda Lawal and other people like Kabiru Marafa, they insisted that there was no consensus, and they went to court. Kabiru Marafa was the face of the people who went to court, but Dauda Lawal was also one of them. Now, there is also the issue of Sani Ahmed Yerima Bakura, who was godfather to Yari, godfather to even this Matawale was his commissioner, I think commissioner for environment also. Yerima didn't want Matawale to reconcile with Yari. He opposed it. He was not happy that at the end of the day, they found a way to reconcile, you know. And there were people who felt that Kabiru Marafa, having done his best to ensure that his party did not get anything in 2019, because even after the appeal court in Sokoto allowed the election to happen, and APC won across board with Mutari Shehu Koguda Guso becoming the governor-elect, Kabiru Marafa still went to Supreme Court, and he was gloating about it. He was happy. He even came on one of the TV stations to boast that I told Mr. President that I will go to court, this and that. Now,
wanted to bring the house down.
yes, he
and
said
brought
he
the house
succeeded.
down.
He contested for Senate. They made sure he didn't win. In fact, it's at
Payback time.
The election moved into what you call Iran. They still ensured that it didn't win. So some of these people in the APC, it's like, you are my friend. I know some in the APC Zamfara who are close to, what's his name? Who are close to Dauda Lawal. There's no way they will not want to assist him because they are all, it's like the same family contesting against one another. So those angry with Kabir Marafa, some of them were also not happy with Matawale because Matawale is the beneficiary of their own inability to become, to assume the positions after they had won election. So they waited for Matawale, made sure that they worked against the party. I can vouch for Yari that Yari did his best. I saw some of the efforts that he made. But his own boys, Yari's supporters, were not committed. They were not effectively reconciled. You can reconcile people, but the pain of contesting and having won election, you are looking at government house and suddenly a court case, ensure you didn't get there, is very difficult to take. Let's tell ourselves.
Just came from nowhere, and changed the destiny.
Now the same people behind the court case, you are seeing them in office, they want to contest, and you are in position, you still have the clout, you have supporters, you are in position to stop them.
So it's a payback time too.
That is what anybody who says that these people did not work against one another. I'm not surprised that they set up a committee, that the parties, because that was Zamfara was very, very brazen. It was clear.
Politics.
But it is expected. Why it is expected, to just continue from where you stopped, is that APC, Zamfara used to be an APC state. They won the election. But because of a court order, PDP now became the government in power in Zamfara. But Matawale now left PDP to come to APC. So, by doing that, he has denied people, the original power brokers within APC, of their rights and privileges that they used to enjoy before he came in. So, there is a division ab initio, and there's no way they will support him. Because, like he said, when they won an election, it was a court case that made them to lose power. And then in losing power, there is no way they can give their support to Matawale. Yes, Matawale did his best, but it's just that it's a continuation of what happened 4 years ago. It's just that Matawale is now in APC instead of being the beneficiary in APC. So that's what Lawal has done now. And instead of investigating this anti-party, I would rather advise the party to use this committee to see how they can find lasting peace in Zamfara. Or else, they will continue to fight themselves.
So that they can regain the...
Yeah, so that they can regain the state. If not, they will continue to fight themselves and they will make PDP the beneficiary of that they are in fighting.
Look at Sani Jaji, for example. Sani Jaji is an influential member of the House of Reps, is contesting, but he's also a good friend of Dauda Lawal. He's a good friend of Dauda Lawal. So that's why many people are convinced that he must have helped his friend in the course of the election. I don't have the facts, but I know a big APC member who told the supporters not to vote for
Matawale.
For the candidate. That was even during the presidential election.
Okay.
He told his people not to vote for the candidates of the party. He knew that people like Kabir Marafa were there, and he showed his own ballot paper to people. See, this is where I voted. Vote against the party, and they went. It was well known that he did it. When Yari and Co. reconciled, a good number of his supporters were telling him that no, we do not agree, because they had made up their minds to avenge what happened.
For you.
Okay, to take us further, to give us further insight, I have Yusuf Idris, Zamfara APC Committee Chairman on Anti-Party Activities, joining us. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Can you please just give us what is happening in APC within in Zamfara State. Keep up to speed, the latest development.
As you have said earlier, I'm the chairman of to find out and to also to come out with resolution and proper solutions on how the party is going to move. I want to correct an impression by Babajide. Zamfara State APC did not lose election. It was rigged out of the elections. So for people to understand. So about the issue of anti-party activities, the committee is formed not to withstand anybody. It's about because we have received a large number of petitions against our party forward at all levels. So the party has to constitute a committee that is going to find out the true situation of all the petitions. Because someone may not just sit down and write a petition against a party member, and the party will take a decision without digging in and find out the actual happening and also the allegations against any party member. So it's not an issue of witch hunting or fighting within the party. So that is why the party formed a 11-man committee that are going to look into all the petitions. And also we have even make an announcement over our radio stations that anybody that has a petition or a complaint about any party member, you should put it written and put to the committee. And if someone is ever ready to come and make an oral testimony for the committee, we are going to start this coming Wednesday on how we are going to listen on all the parties before even thinking on what to do and next line of action.
Okay, Malam Idris, do you have the power as the chairman of the committee to summon any APC member, whether it is Yarima Bakura or former Governor Abdulaziz Yari? Do you have the power to summon them to come and defend themselves in case there are allegations against them?
In as much as they are party members, we have the power to invite them. They are not above the party. The party is supreme above everybody. Except if they are not party members. Maybe they have quit before the time or anything else. You understand? In as far as they are still an APC members, the party chapter of the state constitutes a committee. So we are going to work under the mandatory of the state party. It's not as an individual. We are going to work as an APC members and also APC leaders who are going to investigate a committee, settle the society to find out those who have anything doubting of anti-party activities. So we have the power to summon them, invite them, and it's not an issue of inviting them to embarrass them or anything else. We are coming up with more modalities on how the committee is going to work properly. It's not an issue because we want to unite the party. We don't want to destroy the party.
Okay. You said earlier that the party did not lose the election, that the party was rigged out. We need you to shed light on this.
If you go by the pronouncement made by a returning officer, before making the pronouncement, they were given about 6 hours or 7 to go and change the result. If you go into the Bibas, you see APC won the election. If you go to the IRF, you see APC won. Even the INEC certified true copy. But the result was later altered and changed to benefit the cabals who have any ill motive against the Governor Matawalli because of the role he played during the Naira redesign policy and swap. That is the only thing. That is the only the governor. That is why they may go ahead and do it. And we have all the evidence. That is why the party went to court to challenge what they have done, illegal declaration of the governor-elect.
So, do you have sufficient evidence to show that indeed the APC was the rightful winner of that election? And second, the governor said the military was used to suppress votes of APC members. Where did the military actually did this?
The military perpetrated, the military who are deployed to Zamfara State to perpetrate that act, they covered from Gusau, City King Hotel.
Yes.
From there, there was a large number of military up to the 58 houses. After the 58 houses, when you reach about another quarters, 100 houses, all over the INEC positions is military. And what they did was they did not allow any APC member access to the INEC headquarters. But when you go inside, you find out about large number of PDP supporters who are inside. And the result was changed in collaboration with a National Assembly member, Kabiru Mepales, and retired Colonel Balamande, and the senator-elect. They are among the people who have changed the results in collaboration with the military. And all the military who perpetrated that act were red banded hands. They are using one red-handed band. We have the pictures, we have everything. And that is why we have now decided to go to the court and challenge the illegal acts of declaration of the governor-elect.
I find it interesting that APC is the ruling government in the state. APC is the ruling government in the federal. Then why is it so easy for the opposition to change results when it's a APC government that is APC government that's in power? Why is it so easy for them to be able to achieve that?
You see, the issue of it is not an issue of PDP and APC. The issue I have told you earlier is the issue of cabals and Governor Matawalli. The crime of Matawalli is supporting Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu 100%. That is the crime of Matawalli. And the cabals, without the knowledge of the Mr. President, they use the excessive powers of the President to use a military against the governor of Zamfara State.
Well,
are you with me?
Yes. So what is the duration of this committee? How much time do you have?
The committee has 2 months to submit its report.
Okay. 2 months.
Yeah.
How is the... Yes, we can say that Dawda Lawal is about to take office. What are the chances of APC reclaiming power, especially now that the people of Gusau, what they have been looking for years, finally they produced the governor? Do you have the chance of reclaiming power?
We are going to reclaim our lost, our stolen mandate.
Okay. Dr. Abi Malam Yusuf Idris, thank you for your intervention. I wanted to say we leave the evidence and everything to the tribunal, and he's so sure that they'll get justice in court. So in the next 180 days or so, we wish you the best of luck, and we'll see how things will pan out in Zamfara State, because it's been quite dramatic, I must tell you. The second leg of this discussion is Governor Danjuma Goje. What is happening in that state?
Danjuma and the current governor have not been on good terms at all. And the reason for this, I find it difficult to explain, because the current governor was in his cabinet. I don't know why it keeps happening. Dan Kwambo too was brought to office by Danjuma Goje, but they fell out ultimately. They fell out, and in the end, Danjuma Goje left the PDP for APC. So I know that Asiwaju took great steps to resolve the conflict between Danjuma Goje and the current governor. But it's like the current governor has made up his mind to expel his former godfather from the party, along with another senator too, because they accused them of working against the party during the election, both the National Assembly election and the presidential election. But, you know, they didn't even want to give Goje the ticket. He took the intervention of powerful APC leaders before they eventually gave him the ticket, but the quarrel has not ended.
Did he win his re-election to the Senate?
He won.
Goje won his own.
He won his own, but he is accused of working against the party in many ways. So I think that let's tell ourselves the truth. There were too many anti-party activities by APC members in this election.
Yeah.
Even in Aso Rock, you see people working against the presidential candidate of their party.
Yeah.
You know, bare-faced anti-party activity. So the party has to find a way to solve this problem. Otherwise, the party is doomed. You know,
we have opposition within the party.
yes, the party is doomed if it does not find a way to punish people who did anti-party with, I mean, in your face kind of anti-party activity, doing it without even caring.
Remorse.
Yes, so without looking back. So the party has to find a way. In many places, this thing happened. That of Benue, they are talking about it. The party said that people like Barnabas Gemade were involved in anti-party activity.
Former governor.
Yes, so, but the party leadership intervened again with the intention of stopping him from being punished, you know, stopping Gemade and others from being punished. Something needs to be done everywhere across all levels.
But
I wanted to bring you back to the issue of Danjuma Goje. It seems it's like a Bola Tinubu that succeeded in doing this thing in Lagos, and after that time, he's been having his way all through and through. Every other place, that model has, you know, there's been a kind of
yes, there's no
fallback.
doubt that Goje is a godfather in the state. There's no doubt about that. But that cannot justify anti-party. And the problem that they have in APC is that if a godfather or a state or a top person in the party does not have his way in installing or picking those that he wanted,
he will go and work.
He will go and work against the candidate of the party.
What kind of party?
The party is important that the party must face reality and tell these people that you cannot do that. The interest of the party is supreme. The last time we were discussing with the chairman of that committee in Zamfara, he mentioned that, it is the cabal that worked against the governor. You understand? And we hear that all the time. You will hear that cabal, even within the presidency, work against the candidate of the party. You will see the people
going to another party,
coming out publicly, coming out
another
publicly
party
to say, look,
and
I'm going to support the presidential candidate of the party, but I'm not going to support the governorship candidate of the party. I have another candidate in another party. That is unacceptable.
It's only in APC that I see.
It's only in APC that happens. Because I can understand people who suspended Goje, because Goje actually worked against the party. So, and you cannot expect these governors to accept things like that. But I don't know how the NEC is going to do it, or the National Working Committee of the party will do it. But they must find a way of punishing those who do anti-party.
And ultimately, it almost affected on the larger scale.
Yeah.
It almost affected Bola Tinubu.
Yes.
Because when you look at the results,
not for
areas that it was meant to have won.
If not for the political capital that he had reaped over the years, the rate at which they worked against him, Look at even the people that look at Nwajuba. Nwajuba will call himself APC member till today. He lost. He brought 2 cases, lost up to Supreme Court. He still went, another case that he had no hand in. He still went to court trying to appeal a case that the original owners did not appeal against Tinubu.
That's bad belly.
I don't understand.
Within the party.
Look at somebody, governorship candidate of APC in Rivers State. He congratulated Ajiwaju on social media. He quickly took it down. They were not seen in any way campaigning for the candidate of their party. Just they were campaigning for themselves. But the candidate of their party, you will not catch them anywhere where they openly were campaigning for. Just because of Rotimi Amechi. Rotimi Amechi was said to be the candidate of some members of the cabal. And he felt that he was entitled to win the primaries.
And he lost,
but he didn't have the numbers.
In a woeful way.
He didn't have the numbers. Just the same way the VP didn't have the numbers. If you don't have the number, you can't win the numbers, you can't win an election. And once you have lost, as a good party man,
they never recovered.
No,
last year.
They never recovered.
That fatal blow, they never recovered.
They never recovered.
Because they know that they can always get away with it.
Yes.
That's why
but some will not even work against, some will not openly work against the party. In their hearts, the animosity remained.
Yeah.
They did not show up in any rally.
Yes. We know them.
We know them. They did not show up in any rally. Are those ones party men? No matter what you feel. I remember that, you know what Faleke once did that made Asiwaju to like him. He told Asiwaju, he said, if you don't want me to contest again, tell me I'm ready today to relinquish all my structures. Let us go and work for that person. And the man looked at him and said, this is loyalty to party personified. And he said, no, continue, he said. At that point, his attitude made the man to say, go ahead.
All right, we have to leave it there. Now to our Journalist Hangout Weekend Special, which focuses on the beautiful Federal University delivered by Ebonyi State Governor Dave Umahi. Babajide Kolade Otitoju was there to assess the infrastructure masterpiece at the university and now reports.
Great writers, thinkers and leaders see education in various ways, but they are united about the fact that education has numerous benefits. Education, they say, helps us become better versions of ourselves, empowering us to become self-confident while learning more about our strengths and addressing our weaknesses. Governor Dave Umahi realized just how effective education is as a tool to acquire knowledge and the skills needed to become a better person and create a better society to live in. For this reason, he took education seriously as governor of Ebonyi State.
We have curated jobs. In David Umahi University, we curated jobs of over 1,800. This is direct jobs.
One of his abiding legacy projects in the education sector of Ebonyi State is the David Umahi University of Medical Sciences, Uburu, Ohauzara local government area of Ebonyi State, which could easily pass as the most beautiful public tertiary institution in Nigeria. So impressed was President Muhammadu Buhari during a visit to the university that he promised that the federal government will take it over. On the 28th of March 2023, following the adoption of the recommendations of his Committee on Tertiary Education, the House of Representatives passed the bill converting the state-of-the-art university to a federal government-owned institution. Recently, I visited the institution seen by many as one of Africa's biggest colleges of medicine, which offers courses in medicine and surgery, nursing science, medical laboratory science, pharmacy, physiotherapy, public health, among others. It boasts of customized, well-equipped standard laboratories that effectively fuse teaching with practical application of medical sciences like anatomy, lab, and other multidisciplinary laboratories.
If it's okay, you go ahead. If there is any error, it will tell you, then you can readjust. But when you find out it's okay, you close off and come out.
I was received in the admin building by the registrar of the university, Mr. Vitalis Ofo, who took me around the facility. He threw some light on what makes the university tick.
And then you look at the human resources, because that is the most important thing. Human resources. In this university, I can assure you that in all the disciplines, we have nothing less than 3 professors. 2 associate professors. And 98% of the academic staff in this university has a PhD in their various disciplines. And the testimony is there. Last year, we admitted 54 students.
Yes.
But as I speak to you, we have on ground 664 students. The percentage of increase is more than 1,200%.
And you have not lowered the criteria for enrollment in any way?
No. The standard is even going higher because the subscription is becoming higher. So for us to maintain the level of influx, it then means we have to continue to increase the standard so that we will be able to attract the best candidates into the university.
The admin building houses offices of principal officers of the school, Senate building, other faculties, council chamber, and plays host to the university council meetings.
They have spent huge amount of money to pay for their subscription so that students can have access to them without going to the market to buy them, or without any lecturer getting students to buy a substandard books. So, and 2, every student of this university is compulsory you come in with your laptop.
The admin block is designed for the comfort of students and staff to ease movement from point to point. On this floor, we have lecture rooms, we have the e-library, we have laboratories, and some offices. One distinctive feature of the 3rd floor of this beautiful university is the presence of the escalator, which enables students to go up and down without stress. Come with me as I make use of the escalator to get to the next floor. The laboratories for chemistry, biology, physics, animal science are equipped with personal computers and are all fully air conditioned. This is the second wing of the pharmacy lab, as you can see. I also had a feel of the university's e-library. The importance of a very good library in any institution of higher learning can never be overemphasized. And that is why at the David Umahi Federal University of Health Sciences, Uburu, Ebonyi State, the libraries are well stocked with books to enable the level of instruction to go beyond the lecture theaters. So students can come into the library and avail themselves of the opportunity to read the books that will enable them to improve significantly in the various areas of study: general medicine, zoology, botany, name it. So everything has been put in place to ensure that the students are very well prepared for the challenges ahead. At the main library, I spoke with students on what it feels like to be a student of the school and what they like about their school.
They have provided a lot of things for me to achieve certain goals that I have set for, and they make it easier for me to pursue my goals and be determined. And their lectures are peculiar to every other type of school. They make it easy to understand, and their practicals and everything. They help us alongside with our digital world to encourage us to use laptop by sending PDFs. Other schools, they'll just give you the material paper hand. But this one, you just send it to your laptop and then you can read from it too. And it's a very competitive school. You can't just relax here. You know that you are truly in a medical school.
In the sense of communication, I think it's very pleasant actually. For a medical school, they have very good standards. I think you've seen the buildings, you've seen the teaching hospital. There's availability for treatment, and it's free. The clinic where if you have an emergency as a student, you can easily get treatment. There's good relationship with the lecturers as well. There's no hostility whatsoever.
Located a spitting distance from the main building of the university is the teaching hospital, equipped with state-of-the-art equipment like MRI equipment, scanners for cancer detection, pediatric section, dentistry, and many more that are capable of detecting mild and complicated ailments with treatment readily available.
Surgery can give the glimpse of hope if recovery is going to come. Possibly to bring him to the level of self, dependence, not dependent on people. That's the end. Where the person can independently care for himself. It may not be optimally, functional, but can independently take care of himself.
So that person will be positioned here?
Yes.
This is where you use?
Yes, that's exactly. The person will lie because you are operating at the back.
Okay, you lie face down.
Prone, call it prone, facing down, so that you have access to the back.
This is for examining the breast to check for any lump for cancer, because sometimes what kills in cancer is late detection. But with this machine, when you screen patients with this and see anything that is abnormal, like any little lump, this machine can detect it and they can start the treatment in time.
We're having quite a number of referrals from all over, from states close to us, and from our community, from the community close to us, and we're having very, very critical cases coming, and so we are really. It's very important that we work very fast to catch up, because it's a new institution, and so we're opening up our department faster than we ever thought we were going to do. Because of the referrals, we have ONG, people from neurosurgery, coming from internal medicine, physiotherapy. We have also pediatrics and all that.
There are two categories of staff quarters here. The junior staff quarters that are 2-bedroom flats, as well as the senior staff quarters of 3-bedroom flats each. The students' hostels are especially beautiful. They have a capacity of 1,200 students each for the boys and girls hostels. I spoke with Professor Edwin Ewunomu, head of the Department of Anatomy at the university. He noted that a center of academic excellence is not simply about excellent buildings. As far as he is concerned, the David Umahi Federal University of Medical Sciences is that and so much more. Professor Ewunomu also spoke on where he expects the university to be in a few years.
This is a university that has not stayed up to 2 years. But if you come here, you look at the rate of development, the rate of progress, the rate of, you look at the pattern of the activities going on here, then you begin to feel that in the next 10 years, this university will be reckoning with, some of the best universities in the world.
Just outside the aesthetically appealing university is one of the big signatures of the Umahi administration, the standout flyover bridges. Everywhere you go in Ebonyi State, the signature project of the Dave Umahi administration is there for all to see. And the signature project of the Dave Umahi administration are glittering, tastefully delivered flyovers. He has delivered at least 24 flyovers across the length and breadth of the state. And those flyovers are among the best you see anywhere in our country in terms of the colors and in terms of the fact that they are so tastefully delivered.
In the class of 2015 to 2023, history will not forget some governors.
Yes.
And days ahead, we'll be here to review their activities because they just have 8 days to go. The class of 2019 to 2023 and the class of 2015 to 2023. And Dave Umahi stands out as those people that the people of Ebonyi and history will never forget.
Yes, you know, I went to Ebonyi to witness the inaugural flight landing at the airport named after the president. Yes. One, there is no airport as beautiful as that in Nigeria currently. I say that with a high sense of...
Not the inaugural flight that will land, and after this, no activities, no control room.
Ayo. The terminal building of the airport in Ebonyi is the most beautiful in Nigeria.
I saw it. I saw the security scan. They don't show us normally the terminal building.
I went inside, I saw it, and it is futuristic because he's already looking at when they are going to have a lot of passengers. If it becomes a full-fledged international airport, he has built a terminal that can take hefty crowd of people, that airport. So, when I left the place, someone told me, look, there are 2 things that we need you to see. You need to see the university. I said, okay, let's go. I went to the university, and I'm like, even private universities are not as beautiful as this. You know, it's not everything that you can say in a story.
10 minutes report.
You need to see what I saw. Those hostels, the hostels, you know, for those students.
Looking like luxury hotels.
Very beautiful. The staff quarters, because staff quarters are in 2 categories, 2-bedroom flat, 3-bedroom flat. The hostels are two blocks, and each of them can take 1,200 boys, 1,200 guests.
People can start going from this Lagos, start sending their children.
No, some of them,
some
of the students that I interacted with are from this area. One left a university, one of the guests.
Yes, why would I want to go to a last without the hostel?
He left her university. She left her university to go to the Federal University of Medical Sciences in Ebonyi, which is named after the governor. And when you are, the roads, even in rural communities, I saw roads. These roads are made of concrete. It's not the usual tar. And as thick as this, I told the cameraman, I said, show how thick this concrete is. Just the kind of road that Dangote is delivering, you know, here in Lagos.
Yes,
the road leading to their Papa.
Oshodi Express, Oshodi Solo.
So I'm like, how is this guy able to do it? Some people say, oh, it's because of his friendship with the president. If I'm a governor, I'm being close to the president, will benefit me to be able to do what
I will not leave the president.
This man has done. About 24 overhead bridges, and very beautiful. You see the way you are delivered. Honestly, I'll be friend to that governor, because at the end of the day, it's me that people will praise. The people will be happy. So it's not just to build an airport. He built fantastic, and the shopping mall. Just try and see the shopping mall. I wish we can find time and do a story even on the shopping mall. There's nothing like it here. There's nothing. So the man has done well. And for me, when I go to a place and I see something good, I've not seen I've not met Dave Umahi one-on-one. When I was coming down from the aircraft on that inaugural flight, he saw me, he greeted me. But to interview him, I've never had to interview him. Throughout that time, I did the work. I did not see him. I did not talk to him. I did not ask to be taken before him. All I wanted to do was just show people that, look, there is a governor here who has done so much work. That's enough for me. It makes me happy. I'm fulfilled. I'm fulfilled.
I'm very impressed. I've not been to Ebonyi, but what I've seen, I'm impressed. I'm impressed because Ebonyi is not one of the rich states.
No.
It's not one of the flamboyant states.
Backward in
so Ebonyi is not one of the rich states. In fact, in the southeast, prior to this time, Ebonyi used to be discriminated against.
Yes,
like the back state out of all the
when we were serving, we couldn't spend our weekend in Abakaliki. We used to come
so
to
Dave Umahi has done
Enugu.
exceedingly well. And I see him as a star in the Southeast. Because, and it shows, his people are with him. Because despite the obedient hurricane, he was able to hold the state for APC. Yeah. And he also won
the senatorial
something.
Which
and
was
I think they won the three. Yeah, he delivered all the three senatorial.
And he successfully also delivered his governor.
So you will know that his people are with him. And I like his courage, and I like his vision. Because if you can do so much in a state like Ebonyi, if you are opportune to have higher responsibility where you have access to more revenue or more, you will be able to do better for the people. Because he has done well for Ebonyi. Based on what we've seen, he has done very, very well for Ebonyi. And I want to commend him. I really want to commend him.
And we take time, Jide, to call out those ones governor do nothings in 8 years.
All they do is make noise.
There are a lot of governors. They are only interested in not do anything. And
Federal University as beautiful as this. Where do you see them?
And to believe that in the same Ebonyi, in the southeast that we have Ebonyi, there's a state they call Abia State.
Yes, nothing close to this.
Nothing, you cannot say anything about Abia State that is remarkable. We say this ahead. So
maybe with our friend.
With Oti. Because Oti is...
of course. He has invited Julius Berger. He has a private... He has invited that road to see...
Maybe he will do...
We will do something.
Yes, we'll be able to change the narrative there. But I'm impressed with David Umahi. What he has done in Ebonyi is remarkable.
Oh, I want to thank you. Mayor Akikwelu.
Thank you very much.
And Jude, thank you for this lovely job. We'll continue to talk about this, governors. We'll continue to talk about
anybody who does well. It's not a matter of bring money. If we see something impressive, we'll do a story about it.
And that's all on Journalist Hangout today. Join us tomorrow at 5 p.m. for our regular episode of the program by 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozuba. Bye for now.
Solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Now that Nigeria's next president has been decided at the poll on February 25, attention is shifted to May 29 Inauguration Day, the commencement of a new 4-year tenure of Nigeria's 16th president since 1960, when the country gained independence. It's going to be the 7th inauguration ceremony since the beginning of the Fourth Republic in 1999. And President-elect Bola Tinubu and Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima will take the oath of office. Join me, Nifebi Ogutoye, every weekday on TVC News for the countdown to the historic May 29 Inauguration Day, as we bring you all updates, political intrigues, and in-depth analysis of people and events that you need to know. The countdown to May 29 Inauguration Day, live at 6 p.m. every weekday, only on TVC News.
Information is power, information is security, information is knowledge. On Labor Lens, we believe that working people around the world have